Welcome back, Themes and Wanderers, to Anna, and this is the reading episode. So, we stopped here with that ridiculous Professor Pervert name, and we're going to continue on. So, today, something particular happened while I was searching for some stuff. Just some souvenirs, I guess, and a mess of old cardboard boxes in the cellar. I noticed an unfamiliar box, half buried among the others. I often go down to the basement, but I had never noticed this one before. I didn't even recognize it. Therefore, I immediately decided to find out what was inside. Reaching it wasn't an easy task. I had to move a couple of big boxes, full of ethnic junk, to clear my way through. Why do I keep all this garbage? Well, eventually I managed to take it out of that heap. I found some photos inside. They had been placed in a makeshift envelope, made of sheets of manila paper tied with twine. A note rested on the package, which had turned completely yellow, and on the note was written, "Dias Vale." Don't know if I said that right. Those photos can't be mine. I've never been to that place. In truth, I've never been to the Osta Valley region at all. I don't know why, but discovering those photos filled me with unease. I brought them home, but I haven't found the courage to look at them yet. I woke up several times tonight. Each time I walked past the envelope containing the photos, convinced that I would open it. I always refrained from doing so. The headaches have returned, stronger than ever, with those visions of trees, in the moments of most intense pain. I believe I even heard a voice, or was it perhaps whistling? I can't sleep anymore. Why haven't I found the courage to look at those photos? I don't know, why haven't you? Photos, jeez. Today I gave a terrible lecture, for I was in a gloomy mood, and my students took notice of it. I often jabbered gibberish rather than teaching. I became aware of it, but I wasn't able to get a firm grip on myself. Whew. My thoughts were jumbled in my mouth. I don't know why, but I can't stop thinking about those photographs. During every single instant of the day, they say that I suddenly began to fix my gaze upon one of the code ladies? What? Code? Yeah. Marco, my assistant, told me that I stood frozen like that for an entire minute in complete silence. Okay, hold on 1 second, be right back. Sorry about that, people. We are back. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, we left off here. Had to take that phone call. Marco, my assistant, told me that I stood frozen like that for an entire minute in complete silence. He said I had an absent stare. What does that mean? Well, it means like a complete blank. Okay, anyway. Luckily, I pulled myself together and continued talking, as if nothing had happened. I can't remember anything. It was like a kind of blackout in my coherent stream of consciousness. The Mother Goddess, I gave a lecture on this particular topic today, when I introduced the concept of the... Okay, sorry, I was making sure it was still recorded. Of the Vesica Pisces. I'm not sure if I said that right. They all burst into laughter. One immediately pointed out that it looked like a vagina. I complimented his observation, explaining that he wasn't wrong, and in fact it symbolized maternity in general, and that each one of us originates from there. I also explained that in the Middle Ages, the Vesica Pisces, or Vesica, I don't know, also called mandorla, was used to frame holy pictures of God. Again, they burst out laughing. They still don't fully realize that attempts at removing sexuality from culture is quite a recent scourge. Then I told them about the trapezoid, 3 interlocked spirals, the 3 crescent moons and their symbols. They seemed particularly interested. At the end of class, I handed out photocopies of the hymn to Isis. Ooh! and spoke about the role of women in ancient civilizations. Often considerably different symbols encompass similar concepts. If it weren't for the headache, I would have been a perfect it would have been a perfect lesson. Ooh, I know these symbols. I've seen them tons of times. But that was just my lifestyle. Something I studied over the years. Hymn to Isis. Because I am the first and the last, I'm the venerated and the despised one. I'm the prostitute and the saint. I'm the bride and the virgin. I'm the mother and the daughter. I'm my mother's arms. I'm the sterile one, yet my children are numerous. I'm the married woman and the unmarried one. I am she who gives birth and she who has never given birth. I'm the consolation for the blah, blah, blah. Too much reading. I'm the consolation for the pains of childbirth. I'm the bride and the groom, and it was my man who nurtured my fertility. I am my father's mother. I am my husband's sister, and he is my rejected son. Respect me always, as I am the scandalous and the magnificent one. Wow, Isis! Whew! The photos, gosh dang nabbit! I can't look at them. I simply collapsed. Did I miss something? Oh no, I did, okay. I simply collapsed. I couldn't even enter the classroom. I found myself lying on the ground, my head between my hands, with a swarm of students surrounding me and asking whether I was feeling well. The voices became noise, and then nothing. I woke up at the hospital. According to the medical staff, it wasn't a heart attack nor a stroke, nor a nervous breakdown. It was as if I switched myself off, but without going into a coma. I've been admitted for 3 days, but all the tests have led nowhere. Wow. Ultimately, the doctors merely recommended that I rest a bit and prescribed me a more substantial diet than the one I had been following. Those P's look like D's, doesn't it? The provost agreed with that and granted me 5 weeks off, instead of the 2 recommended by my physician. Just in time for the closure of the academic year, my assistants will handle the examinations. Oh, whew! So much reading. The trees, an old crone who talks with wolves, then the woods, the wind, 2 peaks, a creek, and a building that looks like it was wedged into a motionless world as ancient as Earth itself. The sun wraps around everything. The clouds are walking across the valleys, and the silence of time slips by in the immensity to which I abandon myself. Everything fades away as the morning approaches. I'm dominated by an inkling of vainness. I feel my body is growing heavy like a boulder. I didn't get any benefit from 3 days of absolute rest, and the photos are still wrapped up on the table. Whew. Margot visited me today. Whew. He reported on how things are going back at the university. Sitting at a small table, I made the pretense of observing him and paying attention to what he was saying. I asked him if he wanted some coffee. He nodded and told me he would help himself. You should rest, he said, raising a smile, smirking. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I'm gonna get this. I've told you numerous times not to address me in such a polite way, I replied, letting him do so. A few minutes later, he returned from the kitchen carrying a little tray with 2 coffee cups. He's so clumsy. He stumbled, spilling the steaming hot coffee on the package with the photos inside. Everything happened as quick as a flash. Regaining his balance and realizing that what he had just done, he opened the envelope to remove the stained pages, allowing the liquid to pass through it. Without uttering a word, he handed me the photos while he cleaned. As soon as I held them in my hands, I felt shivers run through my whole body. That uneasy feeling that hasn't abandoned me during the past weeks turned into horror. The first image showed 2 mountains. With a choked voice, I whispered, Castor and Olox. Okay. Oh, wow. Amazed that I recognized them, I began to browse through the photos. After cleaning the mess, Marco came closer to gaze at those old photos with me. "Why have some of them been torn?" he asked. "No clue," I replied in a huff, "for no reason. I can't even recall having been in those places. Unfortunately, there was no doubt. Some of the torn photographs also featured me. There were shots of several locations." Oh, again, I'm sorry if I say these wrong. Prask, Champoluk, Palaz. When was I there? Who was with me? Why were those photos ripped apart? Filled with questions, I no longer needed Marco, so after a couple of minutes he fabricated some excuse I didn't even hear so that he could take leave. I flipped through the photos more and more fervently, as if they were a dream sequence of which I was seeking to make sense. Only after many hours did I stand upon from the chair to lay the photos on the table. And only then did I notice that one of the photographs had fallen to the ground underneath it. It must have fallen when Marco removed them from the envelope to save them from the coffee. I picked it up, looked at it for a few seconds, and then fell upon the floor limp as a corpse. What? Oh my gosh, okay. Huh. Ooh, let me take another drink. Kind of regretting I'm drinking Sprite instead of water. The old sawmill I had seen in the photo appeared to me in my dreams. I reached it, but I couldn't go nearer. Okay. I wasn't able to enter the surrounding fence as if it were an invisible barrier. When I saw her, I was caught in a trance. Now as then, she was on the doorstep and her immense beauty illuminated the onerous walls in which I was imprisoned. She seemed sad and didn't talk to me. When I came round again, soaked in the morning sun, my doubts were gone. I must go to the Deas Valley, or better, should I say return to. I will bring a few things with me, and this notebook, where I hope I'll be able to write how this crazy story ends. Anna, how could I forget you? Alright, so that was that. Alright, now we're going to read these books. Lucien and Margarita. Like I said, this is going to be a very long episode of me reading. Okay, so the first one I found. In times gone by, youths ventured into the woods to vow the eternal love. Thus, on that day, Lucien the shepherd took Margarita by the hand and led her amidst the trees. Margarita was sweet like the spring, with hair like gold threads, and her hands were as quick in cotton spinning as a nightingale was in flying. For all of this, the shepherd desired her hand in marriage. It was a beautiful October day, and the snow seemed to be yet distant. But after a long walk, and while they were amidst the thick of the woods, the sun was covered by the clouds, and Margarita said, "Please, my love, let us return home. A cloud has covered the sun, and if 1,000 drops were to fall from the sky, sick we could become, you and I." But the shepherd replied, "One more step, my love, my dove." Okay, my dove. Double love, I know. I have heard the sound of an axe, and I do not want those woodcutter ears to eavesdrop our vows. Margarita followed him, and on they walked for 100 steps more. The sky darkened, and the maiden trembled. She pleaded, "Please, my love, let us return home." Excuse me. Whew. "The cloud is darker, and if 100 flakes should fall, the path would vanish, and they won't ever find us at all." But the shepherd had seen a hunter several trees away, and he did not want the hunter's eyes to spy on their kisses. He replied, "Courage, my dove, and more step." 100 steps later, a very white light flared far in the distance, and Lucien clenched his beloved's hand more tightly because he desperately wanted to reach it. Snow had begun to fall, and the young maiden desired to go back. She dragged her feet and pleaded, but Lucien gripped her hand tighter and dragged her. Margarita wept, "Please, if you love me, stop, and let us try to find the way home." but the young man no longer heeded her. Margarita tried to stop him whilst the light before them continued to grow. He let go of her and proceeded alone. Margarita fell upon the ground while he disappeared into the storm. Thus she gathered all her courage, took her skirt in hand, and rushed to stop him. 'Cause she truly loved him and did not want any harm to befall him. But Lucien, feeling his hands being pulled back, turned around with a face which no longer seemed to be his own, and screamed, "Begone, you jealous harpy! Why do you linger still? She's calling me with a voice that nary 1,000 nightingales can match, and here you are cawing like a choked crow. Begone!" And saying this, he turned away from her, but Margarita did not relent, and grabbed him by his pants. So the young man turned with a stone in his hand, and hit her hard on her face, and disappeared, leaving her upon the ground. When Margarita opened her eyes again, the snow had ceased falling. The night was silent, but the light was still there. Enveloped by terror, the young girl ran away as far as she could. When she was found the following morning, her golden hair had turned to white, and her face, once sweet and beautiful, was now disfigured by a long scar. Nothing was again heard of Lucien, and no one ever ventured into those woods again. Holy crap! Like, wow, something's up with those woods. Why did you do this, dude? Why? Perfect, Professor. Alright. Here we go again. Let me take another drink. Alright, so what is this one called? I didn't see. Alright, so next one about seals and their usage. Alright. The seals, therefore, if created and positioned befittingly on the doors, are explained hitherto. What? Hitherto? What? Will render it impossible to be opened by those who do not keen the ritual needed to destroy the power and melt the immaterial binds of which the seal is a padlock. It is a immaterial binds. Oh wait. It is a manner of putting to the test the resolution, the will, and the intelligence of whoever seeks to break it. In this matter, only those who demonstrate to be worthy of the treasure of knowledge contained beyond that door can access it, and only strength and intelligence used together will be the key to access such treasures and secrets. The rest of this volume will illustrate the manner of melting these seals, including the rituals and the necessary equipment for such an objective. Make sure I'm still recording. I think I am. Hey, what's up? Okay.
Making an Xbox 2.
Jeez. Alright, and I need to get back to reading. Whew. Much will already be known to those who are knowledgeable in alchemy practices or keen to connections between the matter and form, but we want to help those who are totally ignorant of such matters, so as to provide a point of departure for those wishing to also conjure harder magic spells and rituals into practice. What remains to be described in the seal called that of the 5 eyes, as it is kenned. It looks like Ken, but I'm pretty sure it's pronounced keened. By those who know magic and spells. It is one of the most powerful seals one can find and represent the maximum test of value and knowledge for those who try to melt it, because it is intended to safeguard the secrets of the species, which raises the most pity in those who are virtuous. Whoever possesses the courage to try will have to use the symbols of the deepest essence and must be willing to make some sacrifices. In fact, after having united the ceremonial knife with the most refined substance of fire, as we have hitherto described, whoever seeks to accomplish the ritual will have to use the knife upon himself to shed the blood in uncontaminated water. so that a sort of bridge is created which connects the warm and dry element to a cold and wet one. It is important, however, that to stabilize this connection, a source of sunlight must be present to hit the water with its rays. If everything is performed correctly, the seal will melt and the candidate will be capable of seeing the image, interpreted as if it were present inside of him, as these seals usually do when the preliminary ritual is performed successfully. In the particular case of the seal of the 5 eyes, one must remember that this is destined to contain a source of intimate pain and torment. The brave one must recognize the pain of the mother and show pity and compassion through contact with the face of the innocent. As per rule, the seal provides an incomplete representation which the celebration must complete, establishing a connection to the material world through what he can find externally near the place where the seal was found, and which forms part of such place. Oh gosh. As demonstrations of the improper execution of the rite, the officer will witness a vision. As the struggle of the mother is remembered through the operations described here, he will witness her crying. Okay, so that was about seals and their usage. So, alchemy and thaumaturgy. Amongst the several substances we have discussed at the beginning, one of the most important is the electrum, a union between gold and silver found in nature in the mines of Asia Minor, called Lydia by the ancient Romans, and which can be attained by the expert in his workshop with great knowledge of alchemy and goldsmith. The electrum is a substance capable of unifying and maximizing the quality of gold and silver, realizing the solemn union of the metal dominated by the sun and its co-enzyme, the moon. Blessed son of the sublime union, the electrum, a very pliable metal which is amber in color, encloses within itself, besides several other portentous gifts, a primary purifying capacity which, if conducted with great firmness of will, can remove evil and spells. It has been recounted in an ancient manuscript translated to Chinese from Arabic that an old wise woman, through her polished amber bell, was capable of distancing sickness from who's ever heard the pleasant rings for a whole night. The manuscript does not directly mention the electrum, but from the description of the bell as polished and amber in color, it is doubtless that this was a bell of electrum, and not an average but a sublime alloy, as only the vibration of integral natural electrum can produce the same purifying effects as the powder of electrum diffused in the jar through puffs or through light, and power them to the point of eliminating the sickness. The use of powdered electrum spread through puffs or through light has been recounted by various and important sources. Of the same sources tell of wells situated with the walls of ancient temples, upon whose now dry bottoms some electrum dust was collected. Oh, I read too much already. Elder witnesses tell of rituals performed by the ancient to clean and purify these wells. They would carry a lit cedar wood torch and hemp soaked in perfumed resin, and lower it into the well after abundantly sprinkling noble electrum dust upon the ardent flame. Thus the flame diffused the benevolent dust in the well, illuminating every angle with its rays and purifying it. They motivated by superstition and not by metaphysical science, took great care in the choice of materials used for this ritual, and would accompany it with chants, prayers, and incantations. But we modern people know that the purifying effects So let's make sure my mic is on. Purifying effects was given by the lectrum itself, therefore it will be sufficient to diffuse it with a flame lit in the location or in the well or basin which one intends to purify, so to remove its filth. Oh my gosh! Alright, who's ready for a fairy tale? I forgot what it said. Alright, so far away and nearby fairy tales. So let's read this. The hero passed beyond the monster's jaws and found the enchanted castle as the sorceress had foreseen, a castle with mountain-like walls made of sparkling stone and smooth as an assassin's blade. Clouds covered its towers, and the giant front portal was adorned by terrible gold tusks. The hero grabbed the door's knocker, a silver circle between the jaws of a golden lion, and struck the lead plate with all his might for 3 times. Its jaws quivered and the lion rumbled, but it did not relinquish the ring. Who dares disturb my sleep? It is I, and I commanded thee to let one pass. The brave hero replied, Dare put your hands between my tusks and release this ring from my mouth. Only then will I reveal thee the lock. Why don't you just open your mouth? I cannot allow it to fall. The hero took the silver ring from the tremendous lion's mouth and realized that it was a magnificent crown adorned with gems. Put it in your head. Put it on your head. Yeah, in your head. Urgh. Put it on your head. Only then can I obey you. Thus the hero placed the crown on his head and ordered, Lion, reveal the lock. And so the lion's head leaped down from the portal, and the hero watched as its entire body followed it. A magic spell had trapped within the portal the magnificent beast, large as a bull, had a bright silver sword. Stretched between 2 golden chains was revealed behind it. The lion said, Only the blood of the brave can grease this sword and unprison it from the bolts. Grease or crease? Eh. And so he clawed the hero, whose chest started to bleed. The hero smeared his hands in his own blood and creased the sword with it. The sword slipped from his hinges, but did not let itself be caught. It said, Only the bracelets of power can bend me. And thus the hero removed the bolts from the door, and he could see that they were 2 heavy golden cuffs that fitted him perfectly. He placed them on his wrists and grabbed the sword. Then with the sword in the hands and the crown on his head, he struck the door 3 times, ordering it to open in the name of its master. The hinges turned, the gigantic portal opened wide, and the proud lion bent its paws, saying, Please, my lord, my back is at your service. Okay. Well, that was story time. I hope everyone enjoyed. Remember, this is a video you did not have to watch. If you watch it, that is awesome. Which result that reading was for naught, but then again, I don't know. I need to read it sooner or later. If you guys didn't want to read it in the last video and want me to read it, well, there you go. That would just be a listening thing. That's if you understood what I said. But if not, and you're watching and just follow along the words, you'll understand then. Alright, so I hope everyone has a good day. I'm glad I was still recording. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!